example, the fetishization of black men. And I don't want to just add men because it's black women as well. But as a man, I'm speaking for the men. And I feel like the fetishization of the black man is something that is spread within our own culture and trying to push like this propaganda that essentially what a black man is, another man should be, right? Um, and that's simply not true. But it's the fact that when you get a box of cookies at your front door, and they're probably the best cookies you've ever had, you expect the next box of cookies to be like that, even if it's from a different manufacturer, right? So the problem is that we have too many social constructs and ideologies and opinions about the black man and woman, and it comes mainly from other ethnic groups, right? Like white men and white women, or Asian men and Asian women, right? It comes usually from other ethnic groups, and we've adapted the opinions of these groups and kind of brought them into our own culture. So now, for the average black man is expected to have a BBC. Why? Because that's a stereotype. And that's a stereotype that's widespread within the black community, including black women, right? There's a lot of black women that typically talk about BBCs, or how a black man should be packing this size, or a black man should be this tall, or a black man should be um, should have this type of skin, or should speak this way, or do this, or should have money, or should have this, or should have that. Oh, he should have locks. Oh, he should be partying. Oh, he should listen to this, right? Everything, when you're a black man, everything is curated, right? And whether it's intentionally curated by yourself, or if it's unintentionally curated by other people, nonetheless it's still curated, right? So the ideal black man should act a certain way, and because of that I guess that process or that way of thinking, it's then becoming like, oh, every black man should act like this, right? And then when you get black men that do act like that, now it should be, oh, other men of other ethnic groups should think this way as well, or should act this way as well, or should be this type of thing, or should be that way, right? And I feel like that's a really big issue in terms of like relationships or friendships. Um, and not only that, but as well as like how other factors, when you are the average black man, plays into these kind of same rules, or social rules or norms that I'm talking about right now. So for example, like if you're black with neurodivergence, let's say you're autistic, or you have ADHD, ADD, or OCD or something like that, right? Because now you stray away from what is deemed normal as a black man, you take into account neurodivergence, right? When you stream away, or stray away from the average black man, you now kind of put yourself into a different category of black men, where it's like, okay, he's not the average black man. He's not what is expected of a black man, right? So you then become an outsider, and you're looked at a bit differently, which you're already being looked at differently, even if you're the average black man, because of stereotypes, or because what is deemed to be normal as an African American man or a black man. Um, and I just find it funny how these things like literally stack up. Like these are things that literally add up to you being more lonely, or to you not having more friends, or to you being a particular type of way around people, because these are things that you were taught when you were younger, maybe not by your family or friends, hopefully by your family and friends, but also you could have been taught this just by observing, like how I was when I was younger. I learned these things by observing, like, okay, people expect this of me because I'm black, right? People expect me to say the N word because I'm black. People expect me to be more ghetto in the way that I speak because I'm black. People compliment me all the time. A lot of men and women compliment me about how well spoken I am as a person. And I'm like, okay, but like, there's hundreds of other people that are well spoken, thousands of other people, hundred thousands of other people that are well spoken as well, you know? So why is it that because I'm black, right, me being well spoken is such a rare thing. There's other black people out there that are well spoken as well, you know? So I find it interesting how all of these concepts kind of stack up, and you kind of learn them when you're younger, and your way of thinking is being like kind of influenced by social media, and not only social media but by the way the world treats you or by the way the world acts, and you think something's wrong with you, but in reality it's not that something's wrong with you. It's just that our generation, specifically I'm speaking me and you Gen Z, if you are Gen Z, our generation is the most antisocial generation. I believe 73% of Gen Zers often cited feelings of feeling lonely all the time or sometimes, right? 73%, right? That's a lot. And when you are black in particular, right, man or woman, if you are neurodivergent or if you are a little bit different from the average black person, these things, you notice them, right? Because it's like, okay, other people are getting approached. Why am I not getting approached? Is it because my skin is a bit darker? Is it because I'm less attractive? Is it because my eyebrows look different? Is it because I said something weird? Is it because I did something weird? So now you take all these thoughts and you try to fit yourself into this your own box to where you become more approachable. So maybe you stop talking more, maybe you start isolating yourself more because you feel like maybe you're annoying the people that you do talk to, and you need to isolate yourself more, or just be like your own person, um and that doesn't end up working well. Or maybe you feel like you need to talk more. um all these different kind of like ideas of what you should be is kind of enforced when you're younger. And like I said, you just adapt these things as you get older. But what is not being taught is the fact that it's not only you that's feeling this way. Excuse me. There's hundreds and thousands of other Gen Zers or people in your generation or peers that feel this way as well, which is why you're not being communicated to, right? Which is why you're not being called attractive, which is why you're not being called handsome, pretty, or why you're not being called a nice person, or people walking up to you or talking to you. It's because people genuinely don't know how to speak to each other anymore. People genuinely don't know how to have communication face to face anymore. People genuinely don't know how to talk to somebody or make small talk anymore, or say or walk up to somebody that they like, or say like, hey, I thought you were pretty, can I get your number? Or hey, can we communicate? Hey, I think you're a pretty cool person, like let's talk more. People don't know how to small talk or communicate in long term, and they're not thinking long term because of it, right? So the for the black man and woman, the amount of times that you will be considered as a short-term fling rather than a long-term partner is because of the fact that people are scared of long-term commitments now. People are scared of long-term interactions or long-term dating. So now these fetishizations and these fetishes and these opinions and social constructs of other ethnic groups are being reinforced because of the fact that now it's like, okay, they don't have a chance to prove themselves in a long-term committed relationship. So now you kind of forced into this box, particularly if you're a black man, you're kind of forced into this box of short-term flings. And when you have a short-term fling, what's most desirable? A BBC, right? Things like that, right? The average social like stereotype for a black man. These are things that are desired in short-term flings, but it's like, I don't want that. I want something long-term, right? But these aren't, I feel like these aren't being thought about enough. And I feel like more black men and women need to take more time and sit with themselves to ask themselves, who are they as a person, and what do they want out of life? What do they want out of a partner? What do they want out of this and this, right? And try to become a better person. Because once you realize, right, statistically, because my perspective changed when I stopped thinking for feeling and more like for statistics. Because if I didn't look up like how much Gen Zers actually feel lonely, I would have never found out that over 60%, which is majority of Gen Zers, feel lonely or depressed, or feel like they aren't worth enough, or feel like they're unattractive, right? There's a lot of people out there that feel that way, which is why the communication in our generation is so low, which is why you need to be the bigger person and step up and say, okay, how can I stop myself from feeling this way? What are things that I can do to make myself feel more attractive, or to make myself feel like a better person, or to make myself feel more worth, not by other people, because your worth shouldn't be measured by other people. It should be measured by what you feel, right? By what you deem as self-worth. Your love should come from yourself and not from other people's validation of you, especially if you're a black man or woman, because that's what they did in the 1800s and we don't do that anymore, okay? Your worth is measured by what you feel. Your worth is measured by how you feel. Your worth is measured by what you see in the mirror, right? And it's not a reflection of what you seen when you were a kid, and other kids wouldn't communicate with you, or you felt lonely, or you felt like isolated, or maybe you felt like you were different because you went to a predominantly white school and your skin was a bit darker, or maybe it was just that your skin was darker and you felt different even around other black kids as well, right? So these are things that I feel like need to change within the black community and within other communities as well, right? We need to stop pushing agendas of social norms and stereotypes of other ethnicities as well as our own ethnicities, right? Um, but yeah, that's just my little yap for today. Let me know what you think in the comments. I hope this is a good video. I hope I didn't just ramble too long. Definitely gonna have more videos coming out. Probably I want to make more videos about like my own experiences, especially as a black man, and get my opinions out there about our community as black men and women, um, and how we could do better as a society and better as people, and just become better in terms of like communicating and just being better people all around, right? So like and subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one.